Maybe skip this year, sweetheart. The beach house is already bursting with Olivia's twins and Ryan's new crew. My mother's text blinked onto my screen just as I was poised to sign the final contract in the top-floor suite of a glass-wrapped Miami skyscraper. I didn't flinch, just smiled. Because that contract? It made me the sole owner of Coral Bay Retreat, Florida's most elite oceanfront sanctuary. The same resort that shared a property line with my family's beloved beach house. I'm Sophia Langford, 36 years old, and I had just purchased the crown jewel of the coastline. Meanwhile, my family had just disinvited me from our annual summer reunion. We're keeping things simple this time. Another message popped up. You understand, right? You're single, it's easier for you to pivot. I signed my name with calm precision. Of course, Mom, no worries at all. What they didn't realize, their packed little cottage was now neighbors with a 70-acre luxury paradise, one I owned outright. 16 years of strategy, grind, and relentless consulting work had finally culminated in this, total ownership and quiet power. Congratulations, Miss Langford, my broker beamed, sliding a sleek set of keys toward me. Coral Bay Retreat is officially yours. I had played my role well over the years, let them believe I was the helper, the one who always made time, the one who always made room. Olivia, the Instagram-perfect older sister, lived for curated brunch photos and affiliate links. Ryan, the family golden boy, ran a flashy startup that my parents practically worshipped. And me? I was Sophia, reliable, invisible, and apparently expendable. While they basked in surface-level status, I spent every bonus and free weekend building something real. I poured my soul into the resort's transformation. Dated lobbies became architectural marvels of glass and stone. An ocean-facing spa rose from the ground like a temple. Michelin-starred dining replaced greasy poolside snacks. Private yacht service, eco-villas, even the scent in the lobby was custom-designed. And I timed the grand reopening with meticulous precision, right as my family was scheduled to arrive. Their messages trickled in as the date approached. Olivia, Mom said you're not coming. Finally, we can turn your room into a play space for the twins. Ryan, sorry, Soph, you know how it is. The house is full. The kids come first. Mom, you'll regret skipping this year. We just redid the patio, gorgeous. Every word was fuel. They thought they were excluding me from something special. They didn't realize I was orchestrating something far grander just next door. While they unpacked coolers and beach towels, I'd be welcoming high-net-worth guests from Europe, Silicon Valley, and beyond, each paying over $4,000 a night to experience my vision. And if my family wanted to stop by, they could go through the front desk and book like everyone else. The centerpiece of my resort? An infinity pool with a flawless view of the ocean, perfectly angled to be visible from the deck of their cherished little beach house. A week before their arrival, my mother called in a panic. Sophia, something awful is happening. They're tearing up the old resort next door. It's cranes and concrete and chaos. It's ruining our peaceful getaway. In the background, Olivia's voice cut in, shrill and furious. This is a nightmare. My feed's going to look like a construction zone. I watched from my private office as workers installed sculptural loungers beside imported palms. The scene was picture perfect. That's unfortunate, I said calmly. But I'm sure it'll all come together. We should have had you there, Mom added, flustered. You're so good at solving these kinds of things, but with no space this year. No worries, I replied, signing off on a luxury vendor contract. I've made other arrangements. The night before the reunion, I stood on my penthouse balcony and watched them arrive. 3 SUVs rolled up, bursting with kids, beach bags, and chaos. Olivia emerged first, flawless in matching white linen with her husband and twins. Ryan followed, his children glued to new tablets, while Mom and Dad orchestrated it all like a military operation. And just next door, beyond the hedges, the soft glow of my newly opened resort lit up the night. I didn't need an invitation. I owned the view. They paused often that afternoon, my family, casting annoyed glances toward Coral Bay Retreat as sleek black cars slipped through the gates. Valets in pressed uniforms opened doors for guests dressed in designer linen. while golden light spilled from the glass-walled lobby like liquid fire. That evening, a group text popped up from Olivia. OMG, have you seen this? That rundown resort next door? It's now some billionaire hangout. Great, rich snobs all weekend. Ugh. I smiled as I adjusted the lapel of my ivory blazer and stepped into the grand lobby to welcome the first wave of A-list guests. Through the floor-to-ceiling glass, I saw them, Olivia on the deck, phone in hand, squinting toward the resort, Mom pointing with tight lips, Dad frowning behind his grill. What they didn't realize was that the playground for the rich they were complaining about was mine. And tomorrow, when they came over to demand answers, they'd find the invisible little sister standing behind the desk, as the owner of the most exclusive oceanfront resort in Florida. Success, I thought, is the most elegant form of revenge. I turned to Selvi, my ever-unflappable assistant. Send the Langfords a welcome basket in the morning, champagne, orchids, the full 5-star treatment. I want them to feel very taken care of. The next morning, the sun hit the infinity pool just right, turning the water into molten diamonds. From my office balcony, I had the perfect view, Dad wrestling with the grill, Mom organizing chaos, Olivia snapping filtered selfies, and Ryan showing off a new drone. Right on schedule. 9:43 a.m. The storm arrived. My mother came barreling into the resort, heels clicking furiously across the marble, Dad in tow. This is unacceptable, she barked at the front desk. I need to speak to the owner, now. Selvi's reply was silk-wrapped steel. Of course, ma'am, right this way. She led them to the executive suite. The office doors opened. I stood behind my desk, sunlight pooling behind me, calm and composed. Mom froze mid-sentence, her mouth hung open. Dad scanned the room, ocean views, curated modern art, and a gold nameplate gleaming on the desk. His gaze landed on me. Sophia, Mom whispered, what are you doing here? I offered a measured smile. I work here. Then, with a pause that could slice glass, actually, I own it. Her knees buckled into the nearest chair. You what? Coral Bay Retreat is mine. Dad sputtered. That's how, when. 16 years of building, saving, investing. While you were busy praising Instagram posts and pitch decks, I was building something real. Mom clutched her designer tote like it might anchor her. But, you never said you had this kind of money. You never asked, I said softly. Would it have made the beach house less full? Before they could respond, Olivia swept in like a tropical storm, sundress flowing, phone raised. Mom, the spa's fully booked and she stopped. Froze. Eyes locked on mine. Sophia, what's going on? Mom didn't turn, she just whispered. Your sister owns the resort. Olivia blinked, then gave a laugh so brittle it cracked the air. That's not possible, she's in consulting. She can't. Her gaze drifted to the gold nameplate, the designer furnishings, the endless blue view. Surprise, I said mildly. Consulting paid off. Ryan arrived next, drawn by the tension. He took one look and let out a low whistle. Oh, wow, we thought you were just, meanwhile, you were building this? He shook his head, grinning. Sophie, you're a legend. I let the silence linger before I spoke. The grand opening is next weekend. This weekend's a soft launch for VIPs. I've reserved oceanfront villas, if you'd prefer them to the overcrowded beach house. Mom blinked. But, the reunion can continue as planned, I said smoothly. Just now with access to a luxury spa, a 5-star restaurant, and a marina. Oh, and that infinity pool Olivia's been posting all morning. Olivia blushed. I might have taken a few shots. Try 27, I said, all tagged beach house goals. Silence settled over the room, years of assumptions unraveling at once. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. Sophia, honey, we may have underestimated you. I raised a brow. You think may have? Ryan laughed. We completely missed that our sister was running an empire next door. Mom stood abruptly, smoothing her skirt like it could restore her dignity. Those oceanfront villas, are they really available? I pressed a button on the desk. Selvi appeared moments later with a sleek tray and 5 black leather keycards. Presidential suites, I said. Perfect view of your beach house, just in case you feel nostalgic. Olivia picked up a key card, tracing the gold embossed logo. My followers are going to. They can wait, Mom interrupted sharply. Then, turning to me, eyes softer, older, maybe finally seeing me, she said. Sophia, we owe you an apology. We haven't been fair. No, I said gently. You haven't, but there's a champagne brunch in the private dining room. I'd hate for it to go to waste. They filed out quietly, following Selvi toward the sunlit dining room. Only Ryan lingered behind. You know what I love most? He asked, grinning. You let us kick you out, just so you could invite us into something better. I straightened a black and white photo on my desk, one taken long ago. Before the labels, before the judgment. Maybe it's revenge, I said softly. Or maybe it's just good hospitality. I found her the next morning in the spa lobby, standing beneath a wall of gold-framed awards and glowing press clippings about Coral Bay Retreat. She didn't turn when she spoke. You know what really gets me? Olivia said softly. All those years I bragged about brand deals and Ryan's startup, and you just smiled. Never once did you throw this in our faces. I stepped beside her, watching her reflection in the polished glass. Would you have believed me if I had? I asked. She gave a slow, regretful shake of her head. No, we were so sure we had you figured out. The quiet one, the helper, the sister who didn't need to be included because I was alone. I finished gently. No kids, no flashy title, nothing Instagram-worthy. Her voice cracked. We were awful, and meanwhile, you built this, while we weren't even paying attention. That afternoon, I saw Dad sitting by the infinity pool, watching Mom attempt paddleboarding in the calm blue shallows, a quiet redemption in a weekend full of overdue awakenings. He patted the chair next to him. Remember when you were 10, that lemonade stand? I smiled. Different flavors, handmade loyalty cards, and a handwritten ledger. I remember. He chuckled. I told you you were overthinking it, but I was wrong. You weren't overthinking. You were showing us exactly who you were going to become, and we were too distracted, dance recitals, science fairs, to really see it. Before I could reply, Mom joined us, wrapped in one of the spa's plush robes, steam-softened hair tucked behind her ears. The instructors here are phenomenal, she said, then paused, the irony catching up to her. Of course they are. You hired them. Not directly, I said. I hire the people who know how to find the best. That's what leadership is, knowing when to trust experts. Like you trusted us to ignore you? Ryan approached, his kids splashing behind him in matching swimwear. We thought you were just background. Meanwhile, you were running a silent empire next door. I laughed lightly. You had a different version of success, and I didn't fit into it. That's all. On Sunday morning, the final day of their stay, I hosted everyone for breakfast in my penthouse suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the shoreline. From this view, the beach house looked small, almost toy-like, a reminder that sometimes, what we once clung to can seem so much smaller when our world expands. As we sipped espresso and watched the ocean, Mom set down her cup. Sophia, are you going to sell the resort? Was this just to make a statement? I smiled. No, Mom, this isn't revenge. It's my legacy. I'm keeping it, growing it, maybe even expanding to other locations. I've always had dreams, they just didn't look like yours. Kate grinned, phone in hand. Well, for what it's worth, my engagement tripled once I started posting about my sister's luxury resort. Speaking of posts, I slid an envelope across the table. Inside, lifetime VIP memberships for each of them, unlimited year-round access to Coral Bay Retreat. The beach house might feel crowded, I said with a smile. But this place? It will always have room for family. Dad looked down at the cards, his voice unsteady. Sophia, we don't deserve this. No, I said quietly. But that's what family is. Sometimes you get more than you deserve. The hard part is learning how to be grateful for it. When they left that afternoon, their cars were loaded with gift bags, matching robes, and promises to return. Mom hugged me tight, tighter than she had in years. Next reunion, she whispered. We'll host it here, and you'll be the first call we make. I stood on the balcony and watched them drive off, their SUV taillights vanishing beneath the palm trees. Below, the beach house sat quiet, small now, compared to the sweeping resort at its side. Coral Bay buzzed with new guests, fresh energy, and infinite potential. Then my phone buzzed, a new post in the family group chat. Kate had uploaded a photo carousel from the weekend. The last image showed all of us smiling by the infinity pool. Her caption read, "Sometimes the sister you left out of the beach house owns the resort next door. Sorry, Sophia, we'll never underestimate you again. #family reunion #proud sister #lesson learned." I typed my reply, grinning. Next time, pack sunscreen. The beach house might be tight, but my infinity pool has room for everyone. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's proof. Proof that quiet ambition matters. That you don't need permission to build something breathtaking. And that success isn't about proving anyone wrong, it's about creating a life that feels right. So tell me, what would you have done if your family excluded you the way mine did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit home, hit that subscribe button. Because the truth is, success doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it simply opens the gates and lets the world walk in.